So while I'm in the mood to make videos, I figure I'll show you how I'm making some regular pasta. This is water pasta, and I'll explain that in a second. You can see I have 1 pound measured out on an electric scale of gold medal all-purpose white flour. I have a brand new pasta machine that John bought me for Christmas, which was a surprise, and a bunch of nice little attachments that come with it. I have about 8 or 9 of these attachments that you can change to make spaghetti, capellini, fettuccine, cookies, lasagna, all kinds of things. Today we're just going to make basic spaghetti. Now typically when I make pasta, I like to use semolina flour, and you should use at least 25 to 40% of white flour along with the semolina flour because it's very grainy. Today I can't use the semolina flour because I'm making this for Johnny and Isabella, and my son has a lot of allergies. And if you look on the back of this package, you can see that it is manufactured in a facility that uses tree nuts, soy, wheat, and milk. Now that wouldn't have been a problem up until Friday when I found out that Johnny is also allergic to almonds, which is a tree nut, so I'm not taking any chances. A basic water recipe is just white flour and water, and it calls for, in this machine, the Mod 3000 Pro, it calls for 2 pounds of white flour and 2 pounds of water up to the 2 pound line there, and that will make about 3 pounds of pasta. We don't need 3 pounds of pasta. I'm just going to cut that in half and make 1.5 pounds, and we'll have plenty left over for next time. And basically once I start mixing this up, it will only have to knead for 10 to 15 minutes, and then cooking time is about 3 to 7 minutes depending on what type of pasta you make. The round tubular pastas will take longer than the flat pasta. So I'll show you how we get started. Alright, so I went ahead and I added the 1 pound of flour inside the pasta machine, and you can see that in there. There is no water in there yet. What they recommend that you do is add the water in very slowly. Basically the consistency of the dough when it's done mixing after 10 or 15 minutes should be a bunch of walnut-sized balls in there, and as you can see here, I don't have an attachment on the front of that yet, and there is a reason for that, because when the dough is finished, I'm going to pull out this little handle here, and it's going to drop some dough into a chamber, and that dough is going to spit out this hole here, and they would like to see 2 maybe golf ball size dough balls come out before you continue. If it's too flaky, you need to add some more water, and then if it's too wet, you need to add some more flour, a little bit each time. So we're going to get started by turning the machine on. There's a button on the side here, so the handle's twisted. And then I'm going to slowly incorporate the water. And they really recommend that you take a full minute to do this. It looks like I have a little water leaking, so I may just need another 1/4 teaspoon more when I'm finished. But I've been getting pretty good at the pasta making stuff, so I'm pretty good at judging. Sometimes I think the machine makes it more difficult because I've been making pasta for years by hand. And while it's a little bit tedious kneading the dough by hand, it is kind of easier to judge the consistency of what you need. And so I've added all my water, and basically this is just going to spin for about 10 to 15 minutes. I'm going to keep checking it. And after 10 minutes, I'll check the consistency of the dough. And if it's not right, I'll add more flour or more water as needed. And then we'll come back. Okay, so we're back, and the dough has been kneading for about 12 minutes, and as I said before, they would like you to have walnut-sized dough balls from top to bottom throughout. And for those of you who don't know what a walnut looks like, it looks like this. Okay, so as you can see in here, these don't quite look like walnuts. A couple of them are bigger. but you should take a wooden spoon and go around and make sure they look like walnuts all the way through, which you can see they're not. There's still some crumbly pieces down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the lid back on, and then I'm going to add some water, 1 tablespoon at a time, and I'm going to let it knead for another 5 to 7, maybe 8 minutes more to see what I get after that. And hopefully 1 tablespoon of water looks like it should do it for this dough and make it the consistency that we need. And I just know that from personal experience. So I'm going to put the lid back on and put another tablespoon in and see how it goes. And in the meantime, while I'm doing that, I'm actually boiling the pot of water over here on the stove, because that'll take a little while. So we'll come back when that's ready. Okay, now I have finished adding a little bit more water, and I had the dough knead for another 5 minutes to 7 minutes, and this is about the right consistency that we want it to be. You can see there's a lot larger clumps in there. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put this lid back on and tighten it up. And now I'm going to turn the machine on, and then I'm going to pull out this side here. And I pull it all the way out. And basically what's going to happen is a couple of dough balls are going to come flying out of there. There's one. And there's another one. And that's pretty much how we want it to be. So now I'm going to turn the machine off. I'm going to clean out this housing just by pulling this out. And since my board is clean and floured, I'm just going to take that dough and I'm going to put it right back in the machine. And then I'm going to put on this attachment. And basically how we do that is by putting this back in. Let's just get the rest of that dough out there. I'm going to put this back in, and then I'm going to hold this attachment onto the front like this, and then this piece here is going to go around it. And I'm going to screw it on and tighten it with this little thing right here. So we'll get back to you when that's all done. And in the meantime, I'm going to leave this lever open, and the rest of this dough is going to drop through, and it's going to start coming out like pasta. Now the first couple inches, probably 15 inches, are going to be a little bit shoddy. And what you want to do is you just want to cut them off, roll it back up, and throw it back in there, because the rest will start coming out smooth. One thing I should mention is that with your attachments, what you want to do is run these under hot water right before you put them on, and that will help the pasta extrude a little bit better. And what I've done in the meantime, because this will come out rather quickly, is I've boiled my water. It's come into a boil, and I've salted the hell out of it, because you should never have to add salt to your pasta. All the salt should be in the water, and that will flavor the pasta. Over here, I also have some olive oil, because with homemade pasta dough, it's very sticky. So I'm just going to put a drop, maybe a half a tablespoon of olive oil into the water, so to keep my noodles from sticking. These noodles will cook in less than 5 minutes. So I'm going to drop them in there, and then I'm going to take them right out with a strainer, and I'm going to put them right into a bowl for my kids to eat. And they're going to have them with butter and cheese on top. And because my son likes sauce, but Isabella doesn't. So that's the way we're going to eat them. And I'll show you some more as the pasta is coming out and on the board. And I'm hoping that chefs Jeff Michaud and Mark Vetri don't criticize me for what I've got going on here. But this is Papa Biacco old style cooking. I'll talk to you in a few. Okay, so as you can see, I've started extruding some pasta. And the first few inches of it, you can see the edges are really ragged in here. And then it gets much smoother. So typically, I should probably cut that off and then just throw it back in there. But these are coming out pretty nice overall, so I don't see a need to do that. I've floured my board, and I put a little bit of extra flour. And I keep putting it on the pasta as it's coming out of the extruder, because the pasta dough has been turning in there, and it's been getting very warm. And when it gets hot, it's going to get sticky and stick together. So you don't want that to happen. I won't flour it quite as much as my grandfather used to. He used to have it all over the place. I'm going to actually drop this in fairly quickly into the boiling water. So you can see the olive oil, a little bit spinning on top. It's separated from the water. And so I'm going to go ahead and finish this, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, so as you can see on my board, I've got lots of pasta noodles out there. Typically, I would really like to have something called a pasta hanger where I can hang my pasta to dry rather than have it on this board like this, but this is coming out pretty quickly. And now I'm just going to take these floured noodles and I'm going to throw them into the boiling pot of water, and in 5 minutes or less, my kids are going to be eating. So one last thing that I should mention is that when you're extruding your pasta, you want to try to kind of make them all the same length so that they cook in the same amount of time. And after that, there's nothing left to teach you. Okay, so the pasta's done. Johnny can't take it. Here's Isabella and Johnny. And the last thing I let them do is put their own cheese on, which is sometimes a mistake. But Isabella's pretty good at sprinkling. And as you can see, we use locatelli cheese because I think it tastes better than anything else.
I like Kelly.
And that's enough cheese for you.
Oh.
No, that's enough. See what I'm saying?
When I saw Kelly, I can't believe I stand up on that thing.
Here you go.
Why would you go up there?
And that's enough, because you just dumped plenty. So get your fork, mix it up.
No.
You don't want to mix it? Oh, Johnny doesn't like to mix his cheese. And Isabella, can you tell me how the pasta is, please?
Very good.
Thank you. And Johnny?
Very good.
Thank you. And so my job is done here, because my kids are happy and they're eating homemade pasta, which I made, and it's good for them. Say bye.